Hello everyone, I'm Troy and I'm going to show you a new extension. I have here the Inanimate Manager. So, of course, you want to load it up in your, before you load the campaign, you want to select it in your list of extensions. Once you do, you get to here, and the first thing you should do when you start in a new campaign is you come up here where your tools are. You have a new button that looks like the combat tracker. It's your Inanimate Manager. So you can pick this button here. It says See Keywords. And what you want to do on your first go is add the base. And this is a list of words for my that I've inserted for your library of words to match to your items. That way they can automatically get an AC, and that's based off of the material that they're used. So you see we've got like spandex, lace, wool. I've just kind of inserted a bunch of different words that could be found and gave them an AC value. You can type in your own here and give it an AC value here, and then you can add it, and it'll either replace one that already exists with the same name, or it'll add a new one, and you can use that to remove them as well. You're also able to just kind of edit them right from the spot. So they're all sorted by their AC. You can see we go up a little bit further. And then I've included stuff that is already in the rule set, just where in the DMG they do kind of specify a couple of items, I think like 3 or 4 per AC level. Right, so we'll get on to what that does a little bit later here. So first off, we've got the Inanimate Manager. This works a lot like the combat tracker. So what's different is we can actually put items into this instead of NPCs, and they'll be able to be tracked and worked just like NPCs. So we're going to go to our library, go to our modules, and activation, and then I've got my manager here somewhere. Let's see. I've got a lot of things here. Can't remember. I should have got this before. Let's do this. This one. So I've got Inanimate Manager reference here. And I think I'm also going to go ahead and load the Dungeon Master's Guide, because that has items in it. Takes a second for that one. And I'm going to load up the Monster Manual. And we'll get to that in a little bit here, why. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my reference here. So you find that in your modules, you click on whatever module, and there's a reference manual. Very important, probably read a bunch of this before you get started. So we got right here, before you start, set up your keywords, which we just did. With going to the Inanimate Manager, see keywords, adding the base, and then you can add your own. You can remove these if you don't like them. And then we've got items. So please note that these changes will not be applied to reference items, and that stats may need to be copied over to your database in order to be edited. So what that means is if we come to our campaign and our items, stuff that is found in the Dungeon Master's Guide, for example, doesn't get any of the changes. That won't be until they get either copied to your database or brought into the Inanimate Manager. So we can see chainmail armor. It's got an AC base of 16, so we automatically got that AC base of 16. We've automatically calculated a damage threshold based off of its size and its AC. So it's its AC divided by 5 multiplied by its size category divided by 2, I think it was. So that will determine your damage threshold. You can delete that if you don't want it, but it's automatically calculated for all of them. And then psychic and poison, immune to psychic and immune to poison are automatically applied to items. We also get a button that will quickly add it to the combat tracker for you as an entity within there. So let's go ahead and put one back here. So, you can see we've got an HP already figured out. That's from its size. And you can also decide if it's fragile, which will make it a little bit weaker, or you can make it not fragile and it'll be resilient. You can see you get all the traits from an NPC that you can change up as you wish. And if I make a new, let's see, if I make a new record here, let's find, I think, do we have, yeah, we already got traps in here. So let's say falling net. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the record. I'm going to come back to my items list and look for falling net. Now here it is, and if we go to the NPC block, it's gone ahead and copied all of that information over from there. It's got a token. It's all ready to go. So what we can do is we can put it into the combat tracker. Let's bring up a map. Let's go with this. Just pick any kind of old map for now. That's a really big map. And we're going to put the token down here. So now we've got access to it. It's got effects we can use. We can target NPCs on the combat tracker, as well as PCs. So let's just make a little Hello Joe here. Test guy. We're going to put him on the party sheet just to make sure. Oh, I went ahead and copied him. Okay, so if we drag him into there, come back to the map, we need to give him a token. We don't have a token. Let's just give him that. Okay, so we put him on. Now he's walking, and he happens to step on this trap. Test guy could trigger falling net. You may have them roll perception and or make rolls from falling net actions. You can choose to skip, or you can choose to roll perception. Either way, it's going to bring up this window. So we can see we rolled perception. And now what we can do is it's already targeted test guy, and we can make these effects and rolls right from this window. If we wanted, we could target, you know, up to 20 feet away, target everything within that range if there was anything else, and then we could do the damage to those as well. I could also just drag these off and apply them as I want. Once I'm done, I can close it. Right, so traps are all set up that way. The key here is to have the type as trap. That's what it's looking for. You could also use hazard. Right? And so then you're all set. Like, you can place these on the map. The best way to do that, I would say, is to use one of the new records. I've got random and so there's room dressing and random room dressing. These act just like your encounters and your random encounters. You get record sheets. You can drop a item onto them. And for the random, you can give them a random die string. Generate a room. Get a token. You can place those on the map, and then that way you can have them all set and add them to the Inanimate Manager. Right, so let's see, what else here? Items now have slots for tokens. We said that. When you open an item record, the AC will automatically be figured based on the material of it is made of. So the keywords are looking at the name of the NPC, of the item. Either directly it's looking for that name in there somewhere, or it's looking in the description of it for made of material, made from material. So if it has that on it, it's going to pick the AC, and it's going to pick the best AC it finds out of any of those. Your size is also automatically determined by the weight of the item. Once it's opened, if its size is not determined. And if your HP is not determined, it'll automatically determine one based on its size. If you name an item as the same as the NPC, so we showed you can easily copy over data to an NPC by giving it the same name. So we're done with that one. Break it up, Inanimate Manager. So we went through, you can add items to it, you can add the traps to it, you can target enemies, you can target the traps, you can target any of the entities on the Inanimate Manager. So if a party member wanted to deal damage, let's give him just kind of a weapon here, and he can go ahead and we'd see attack the falling net. Same as the damage. If we let's give him let's give him D4, whatever. And slashing. Must be using a sword. Base, bonus, proficiency. So he didn't deal enough damage because the damage threshold is, well, it's 10 for the falling net because of the size of it. So if I didn't want that, I can just come in here and delete the damage threshold, and then we're all set. And then we can see we dealt some damage to the item. Now, if you are a player, what your GM can do for some items is he can click this little button. It says pickup, and when your token is adjacent to the item that can be picked up, you can double click it. It'll remove it from the Inanimate Manager and put it into your inventory. So that's a nifty little feature there. I think I'm still kind of skipping ahead of my reference manual here. So that's the details about the trap. Automatically determines the threshold. Let's see. Conveniently placed mimic button that we spoke of. And the toggle if they can be picked up or not. And we have information about our room dressing, and I've got a few records here of hazards that you can find in the Dungeon Master's Guide. These can be used, put on the Inanimate Manager, and used as at your discretion to harass your players. I was just trying to think. There was one more thing. Oh yes. Okay, so if I have an item, let's go ahead and make one named Torch. I place it on the combat tracker. We find Torch, and if I look at its effects, then it's got a light 20 torch. So it's already got its light effect applied. Place it on the map, and if I guess I don't have the lighting effect because this is one of the reference ones, and you can't edit reference ones. But if I could turn on the lighting and show you the other ones. Let me see if I can get you one here real quick. Which one is this for? Bring up the copy. Let's bring the torch over. Unlock. Put on lighting effects. Copy. Okay, there we go. When you place a token on there, you do have to close the window and open it back up in order to kind of refresh it's now on there. It's got effects and everything. And remember that's easily done. Like you can, I should did this actually. You can just double click the token from the inanimate tracker. You'll get right back to the window that or the image you're on. So there we go. I think that's just about it for the new Inanimate Manager. There's the reference manual if you need to know more, and you can always come visit our Discord. That should be linked in the extension, actually. If we come all the way to the top, it's right there. You got a little link to come into our Discord right there. I try my best to help everyone out as promptly as I can. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy, and happy gaming. Thanks, guys.